Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Kelsey K, otherwise known as KelseyKMUA, and I wanted to thank you so much for being here today. Well guys, today's video is going to be my easy, everyday, go-to makeup routine. This is pretty much what I do on a daily basis if I'm not recording or if I'm just kind of going anywhere, just trying to get out of the house, going for a walk, I don't know. Social distancing with friends, just something easy and quick, but at the same time not like super full glam, but still makes me feel kind of glam. So using the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Coconut Priming Stick, rubbing it in with my fingers so that then it'll be nice and tacky for my foundation. And then using this Sacha Kashuk, this is a stick concealer. This is going to give me a little bit extra coverage to kind of just cover up those little pesky little pimples on my jawline there, and then blending it in with my brush to make sure that I get a nice seamless coverage. And then again with my brows, using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in short strokes along the top and bottom of the brow to kind of fill in those sparse areas and give me a nice beautiful arch without making things look too blocky. Beautiful. And then for foundation, this is the Maybelline Superstay 24-hour full coverage foundation. Oh my gosh, you guys, I absolutely adore this foundation. It's less than $15, gives great long-lasting full coverage. It's great for oily skin, and I just love the fact that I can put this on like super early on in the morning, and then when I get home at night, it just looks so seamless and still beautiful. I still have lots of full coverage, and I don't feel the need to have to touch up and reapply makeup throughout the day. So I'm blending this in all over my face using a combination of kind of like buffing and then swirling motions. You kind of have to gauge on your face where you feel the need that you're going to buff and where you're more going to tap. So in the places that I feel like I need a little bit more coverage, where I'm a little bit more red, I'll use more of like a tapping, like blotting motion with my with my brush. And then on the places where I feel like I need a little bit less coverage, I'll go ahead and swirl and buff that brush into the skin. And then for concealer, using the Urban Decay Naked Skin, using two colors. I don't do this every day, but this is something that I do like doing on those days where I'm looking for something a little bit more natural and don't want like a ton of concealer all over the face. So the pink one is a color correcting concealer, and the yellowy one is more along the lines of that full coverage weightless concealer. I really like these concealers because they are just so nice. They're weightless, they don't look cakey on the skin, and they just look absolutely freaking beautiful. So going to blend these in using, again, a combination of swirling and, stamping motions. So you kind of, again, like I said, you kind of have to gauge on where you want to have the most coverage. So on my nose, I realized that the first stroke that I made with my brush, it kind of took off a little bit of my foundation. So I had to more like blot that on my nose with my brush as opposed to swirling and buffing. But under my eyes, I'm taking my ring finger and really just like melting all of that product in under my eyes and then blending it out the remainder with my brush. So then I get nice, even, beautiful, like flawless airbrush coverage. Look at that. Like you can still get a nice, beautiful, flawless base without using a ton of product. And then under the eyes, I'm just going to go ahead and take a little bit of this Pretty Vulgar Loose Translucent Setting Powder, taking a little bit more over the nose, being a little bit more liberal over the nose area so that then I don't get shiny throughout the day, but taking a little bit more of a conservative approach to the powder around the perimeters of my face where I'm a little bit more dry, just trying to set the makeup, nothing else. And then for eyeshadow primer, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills eye primer. I kind of flip-flop back and forth between whether I use this with a brush or with just my fingers. It kind of just depends on how I'm feeling that day. And then for eyeshadow, using the Lorac Pro palette. I love this as an everyday palette because it has everything that you need. So taking the shade Light Pink on a more fluffy blending brush, I'm just going to go ahead and buff that all over the lid to really just set down that eyeshadow primer, and so then the rest of my shades will blend really seamlessly. And then on a different kind of blending brush, I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Taupe and just kind of really buff that into the crease area, kind of just above where my socket of my eye is. It's almost kind of like an eyeball massage. So using a combination of windshield wiper motions and little like buffing motions at the outer corner of the eye, kind of like lifting and elongate that eye And then taking the shade Sable on a more fluffy packing blending brush, I'm going to go ahead and keep that on the outer third of the eye and then blending that up into that crease area so that then everything looks seamless and it almost kind of looks like an ombre of colors. You really, really want it to look like more of that deeper shade on the outside of the eye and then lighter shades on the inside of the eye to really kind of just create that lifted and elongated effect, almost like that cat eye type look. So then it's a little bit more attractive. And then just gonna go ahead and blend out those outer edges of that transition shade with my fluffy blending brush from before, just to make sure everything looks really, really like a cup of Starbucks whipped cream, just light and frothy. And then on more of a packing brush, taking this shade Garnet, and I'm gonna pack that on the outer half of the eye. So then we get a nice transition going in here with this nice gold shade that I am applying it with my finger. Oh, I love how shiny this shade is, and it's so great for my blue eyes. Make sure that you are applying shades that complement your eye color. This is going to be great for your everyday go-to makeup routine because then it's going to make your eyes really pop and it's going to just make you feel really pretty. And then again, blending out those outer edges again with that nice fluffy blending brush to make sure everything looks really nice and fluffy. And then taking my packing brush again with that shade Sable and applying that to the outer third of the eye to create a little bit more depth and dimension on the lower lash line. And then blending it out with my fluffy blending brush just to make sure that there are no harsh lines because like I have said a million times, we don't like harsh lines. Harsh lines, don't know her. And then for eyeliner, I am using the L'Oreal Telescopic Carbon Black liquid liner. Oh, this is one of my favorite liquid liners ever. This is a great way for people who are afraid of using liquid liner or are just kind of getting started with using liquid liner in creating a small little flick at the end of the eye just to kind of help elongate the eye and not having to go through the full-on wing. And then for mascara, going to start with the base of the lashes and then kind of extending all the way up to the very tips of the lashes to create a little bit more volume at the base, which is going to make your lashes look so much more full and lifted and elongated. And then for contour, using the Kat Von D Shade and Light palette, I'm going to first start by kind of like sucking my cheeks together, kind of like creating that little fishy face. This is not something that I do every day, but I just think that it's kind of helpful to share for somebody who might be a beginner. So what I do is I kind of, like I said, create that little fishy face and then stamp my product into where the hollows of my cheeks are. So then I can see a little bit more accurately about where I'm placing my product. And then you can go through and swirl and tap and buff until everything is blended out to your liking. And then here along the jawline, I'm just going to go ahead and buff that so that I can contour away about 10 pounds off my face. And then going to go ahead and apply some along the forehead. Closest to the hairline is where it's going to be the darkest, and then kind of creating almost like an ombre effect of bronzer going from my hairline down to the middle of my forehead. Now, you want to make sure that you are going very light with your bronzer because it's easy to get snooky real quick. And then I'm just going to go ahead and take this Clinique Get Cheeky blush palette, applying my blush to the apples of the cheeks and then sweeping back towards the hairline in small like stroking motions to almost to where it like meets with that bronzer. I also really like to put some of the blush on my forehead too because it really just kind of ties it all together. And then with a very, very conservative amount of that light powder, I'm going under the eyes to kind of help highlight that under eye area. And speaking of highlighting, oh, you know that highlighting is my favorite part. I tried so hard not to go super overboard with this highlighter, but at the same time, it just gives such a beautiful like lit from within glow, and it's so natural. You really can build up this highlighter to a point where it's like super beaming, but if you just really want that nice lit, beautiful, like, oh my gosh, is she just glowing or is it highlighter? And then using for my lips today, this Jordana Easy Liner. I love how easy these are to work with. They're still creamy, but at the same time firm. So then they're really easy to work with. And then going over that with a gloss, this is the Lorac Alter Ego glosses. And I absolutely love these. They taste great and they last all freaking day. And then to kind of set everything down, I use the Mario Badescu spray just to kind of like melt all of those powders into the face so that then everything looks a little bit more skin-like. And then I'm going over that with my actual setting spray, which is the L'Oreal Infallible setting spray. I love this stuff. Guys, it's great. And guys, that is the finished look. Thank you guys so much for watching today. If you liked it, don't forget to give me a big old thumbs up. It helps other people find the video. And if you want to help other people find this video even faster, then you can share this video. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the little notification bell so you can see more videos of me doing stuff like this. Thank you guys so much. I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.